know I will.
Good evening and welcome to the October 2024 Bolivar Board of Education meeting. Thank you for joining us. At this time, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have accumulated a very nice list of commendations, and Ms. Jillian is going to read those for us this evening.
I volunteered and didn't bring my glasses, so that's neat. Yep, I do, actually. I don't think we're the same.
Sorry.
I don't think we're the same. Okay, we'll figure it out, guys. Nope, I'm gonna wear Dr. Meth then. Anyone else like to? Oh, we're the same.
There we go.
I'm just older.
We're the same.
That's all I'll just say that.
Okay. The Lady Liberator softball team won their district championship on Monday and will host their quarterfinal matchup with Tolton Catholic on Saturday here at Bolivar High School with a time that is yet to be determined. We have two doubles teams going to individual state tennis on October 24th and 25th. Cammie Bryan and Jillian Forner and Sophia Smashy and Emma Goodman. The Lady Liberator tennis team were district champs and then won their quarterfinal match on Monday to advance to the team state tennis tournament on October 31st and November 1st. Caitlin Cribbs and Delaney Daniels competed in the state golf tournament yesterday and today in Springfield, and I will add that I do know Delaney got 10th today. I have not heard an update on Caitlin, but the Marching Liberators made history Saturday as they placed third in their class at the Maple Leaf Marching Festival and got to perform in the finals competition. They also earned second place in their class at the Valhalla Marching Festival 2 weeks ago and performed in the finals there also. This is the first season to make finals in both of those festivals in the same season. And join me in congratulating the area fall speakers who competed tonight at Buffalo. There are 23 schools in our area, and there are 23 schools in our area.
And they represent.
Our students represented Bolivar well. They have to write a speech in a designated topic based on the sponsor. Top 3 in each category move on to districts in November. So we have Skyla Moore, first place, Teach Ag. Ellie Samick, first place, Young Farmers. Dakota Brown, third place, Pet Breeders. Cole Jervis, third place, Pork Producers. Garrett Samick, third place, Farm Bureau. Charles Fagan, fourth place, Sheep Producers. Brindley Wooderson, Quarter Horse. Daya Patel, Forest Products. And Emma Hancock, Cattlemen's. BIS, I would like to recognize Creator Designs for the donation of Liberator t-shirts for new students enrolling at BIS. This bit of Liberator gear is a great way to welcome a new student to our school family and to help them feel included. Thanks to Creator Designs for partnering with us to welcome new libs to our BIS school family. And a big thanks to Dr. Laura Montgomery at Vision Source. They quickly made a custom pair of lenses for a student at BMS and donated them to the school, and we are all very appreciative. So lots of things going on right now to be super proud of, and that's it.
Thank you. Great job, by the way.
It was the glasses.
It was the glasses for sure.
Metro Specials.
Super smart glasses.
Okay. Next on our agenda is our consent agenda, and we simply need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Dan on the motion, Paula on the second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And all opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to CSIP updates and administrative reports.
Yeah, tonight we have a spotlight at Bolivar Intermediate School, and we are thankful to have Mrs. Campbell here to give us a little update, fresh from parent-teacher conferences today. Thank you for being able to make it here, and I trust we had a great day of conferences.
We did. We did. Good day of school, too.
That's absolutely awesome.
Okay, hopefully I know how to drive this thing. We'll see. I'm Brooke Campbell. I get the amazing pleasure of being the principal at, I think, probably the best school in the district, BIS. We are home to 565 students. 194 of those are third graders, 171 are fourth graders, and we have 200 fifth graders. So that's our biggest crew in the building. Our mission at BIS is to learn, grow, and lead. And we say that all day, every day, that those are the three things that we come each day to do. Our vision is outlined in these statements below. And when Mr. Love and I wrote the vision a few years ago, we really wrote it from the perspective of if somebody were to be at our school and observe us fully learning, fully growing, and fully leading, this is what we believe people would see happening in our school. Okay, oh, sorry, I'm getting a little trigger happy. For us, we have a couple of different tier 1 pieces that we use across our building. So for Eureka Math, we've used that for, I was a coach at BPS, we implemented that in the beginning of the year of 2016. So we've had that for quite a while. We have a new ELA resource in both reading and writing, which is Benchmark. You watched a video when Dr. Tennyson did the BPS Spotlight last month. We use the same resource. And then we also use Mystery Science for science. We are getting ready to launch a really exciting initiative. We've taken a couple of years off from One School, One Book, but we're gonna get back in it. So I have a quick little thing for you about Rover's story.
Meet Resilience, a Mars rover determined to live up to his name. Rez was built to explore Mars. He was not built to have human emotions. But as he learns new things from the NASA scientists who assemble him, he begins to develop human-like feelings. Maybe there's a problem with his program. Human emotions or not, launch day comes, and Rez blasts off to Mars, accompanied by a friendly drone helicopter named Fly. But Rez quickly discovers that Mars is a dangerous place filled with dust storms and giant cliffs. As he navigates Mars's difficult landscape, Rez is tested in ways that go beyond space exploration. As millions of people back on Earth follow his progress, will Rez have the determination, courage, and resilience to succeed and survive? Find out in A Rover Story by Jasmine Warder. 2024-25 Texas Blue Bond Award nominee.
It's a cute little story called A Rover Story, and it's told from the perspective of the rover and the lead scientist's daughter, and they are pen paling each other. It's a really cute story. I actually have a gift for you, and I will pass it to you whenever I finish. Mrs. Goodwin wanted each of you to have your own copy of the Rover Story and invites you to read it with us. So the way it works is that the children can listen to it via Beanstack. So this is a QR code if you would like to sign up to be a guest reader. Dr. Wall has signed up, so I invite all of you to sign up if you would like to be a guest reader. You can pick the chapter that you want to read. And Mrs. Goodwin says she's available each day at 2:30 or later, so she can help you record your story. So I'll make sure you get this before you leave. We are tying our Rover story to our STEAM night, which is held December 12th. So I would invite all of you to come out for that. That should be a great science and reading connection. We're going to decorate the commons area to make it look like Mars, so we really hope it's something that hooks kids into reading a really fun book. Okay.
Did you say
Next-
December or November?
STEAM night is December 12th.
December 12th.
Mhm. Yep. And I want to introduce you to our Success Center. Maybe.
Is it the video?
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead.
What word in there helps us know?
Nervous.
Nervous. Yeah. So when
We have students that come to school that have big emotions, and the classroom is a spot for learning, and we needed a space for kids to be able to, one, regulate their big emotions, and two, learn new skills.
So students come in and they go through different stations to help regulate their emotions. We're teaching students how to notice that within themselves in the classroom if they become upset or out at recess, and they can ask for that break. We have a choice board, and with that choice board, they do one move, one work, and then one breathe. And then from those, they set a timer for each station. And so for a move, a lot of them choose the trampoline or the treadmill.
So move is just to get your anger out. It kind of helps my brain kind of reset.
And then for the work, a lot of them do puzzles. And then for the breathe, we have calming activities like a sensory bin. Teachers can call down and say, hey, I need to send a student.
But we also have students who we know just by watching their trends across the day that they maybe need to have a reset at 10 a.m. or they need to have a reset at 1:30. And so we do have scheduled breaks for students.
And it's just been so helpful that like when I'm struggling, trying to calm them down, I know that I've got a safe place that they can go to where they can get ready to learn again and come back to my classroom, and then we just can continue on with the day.
See your friends after school and feel calm and focused while working. Calm and focused are the key words.
calm and focused, so that lets us know we're in our green zone.
We started pulling students to do lessons, and so here recently we're working on zones, so helping them recognize the emotion that they're having and what zone that actually correlates with that. So like if they're in the red zone, that's when they're angry, crying. A blue zone, they might be feeling more sad or tired.
How does it feel in my body? That is surprisingly really hard for kids to realize that, oh, my ears were ringing, or my neck was getting tight, or my face was flushing. That's what angry feels like in me. And we as adults take for granted that we can recognize that. Kids can't.
Someone accidentally bumped into you and you feel frustrated, but you can still talk it out.
That'd be you feel frustrated.
It is amazing to me to see students come in, and you can tell that they are dysregulated. You can tell that they're upset, and they are able to go through those stations, and actually you just kind of see the weight lifted off.
Really, it's a game changer for teachers. I just really don't know if our room could function as well without the Success Center.
So we've had a Success Center for a few years, but we're really lucky that Megan Ash has stepped into that role this year, and she's doing amazing things with that role. We studied the work at Willard and Reed Spring and really designed our room based on what we learned from those schools, and I see such good things coming from that room. So I'm really excited for its role in our building. Sheila, I don't know if I'm going to be able to carry on. I think if you just escape out, and then maybe I can. keep on keeping on. Maybe.
What word in there helps us know?
Okay. One more thing I would say about our Success Center, many of the items that are in there, Megan wrote a grant, SB 40 grant, and many of those things were grant funded. Next is a peek at our first quarter behavior data. So the black numbers off to the side are in the perfectest of perfect worlds. We would like to see percentages within this area in your tier 1, 2, and 3 categories. So we had 532 students in our building who had 0 to 1 ODRs, which stands for Office Discipline Referral. That reflected 94% of our students. 25 students had 2 to 4 ODRs, representing 4% of our students. And greater than 4 referrals was 7 students, representing 1%. So we had a total of 125 ODRs, which accounted for 53 offending students. All of the students in the tier 3 category either are in process of an FBA, have an FBA. This is a passion for me. I'm actually in the final phases of my dissertation on multi-tiered systems of support within behavior. And that's a big piece of a tier 3, is that you really study the function of the behavior so that you can put steps in place to help those children. Okay. Sorry, Sheila, I think I broke it. Okay, to continue looking at our positive learning environment, we have an executive function focus, which basically means that we look at an I can statement every single month. So the executive function is that prefrontal cortex of your brain where you have access to your problem solving skills. So your executive functions include self-control, empathy, attention, time management, organization, flexibility. So we have broken those down, and we have I can statements that we work on each week. This week is I can hush, flush, wash, and rush in the restroom. And surprisingly, we have room to grow in that area. I have that hanging on my office door right now because it's our I can statement, and my son was teasing me about, surely I know how to use the restroom. Next. Okay, it's fixed. And then we give out Liberator Leader tickets to students who are showing the I can statements across the building. They bring those in. I would say we easily have a few hundred of those each week come in. And we draw out 6 each week, and those 6 get prizes given to them. They just get to get into our prize closet. We also are running attendance incentives every week. The winning classes go into a drawing at the end of the month. The names are drawn out. September, they got to have a hat day, which for elementary kids, you could have given them a hat day or $1 million and they wouldn't care. And in October, we're working towards a crazy sock day. Our attendance overall is 94.93%. Third is 95. Fourth is 94. Fifth is 95. Sorry, broke it again. Okay. We have weekly professional learning teams that meet. This is a picture of one of our teams working, and this is a graphic that we use to kind of illustrate the flow of the 4 questions within the professional learning community. We have this graphic that matches our PLT teams, and we have another similar one that we use with our Guiding Coalition team, which focuses on the work of teams. So the Guiding Coalition is the team that partners with me to just kind of run the professional learning teams across the building, but their focus is on, instead of it being students, we switch the language to teams. So what should a team be able to know and do? How will we know when they're doing it? What will we do when they struggle? What will we do when they excel? So, in our Guiding Coalition, they meet twice a month, and we're working through a book study right now called Taking Action, which focuses primarily on response to intervention, which is a piece of a multi-tiered system of support. Sorry, Sheila.
It's not moving.
Okay. And lastly, some upcoming dates for us. I mentioned STEAM Night on the 12th. One School, One Book launches on the 28th. Fall parties are the 22nd, so that'll be the hottest ticket in town. And December 5th will be our 4th grade music concert, so it'll have a little bit of a Christmas feel to it. Questions that I can answer for you?
So did the Success Center that Ms. Hash runs, Did that replace like a behavior intervention room, or do you have that also? Or?
So we've had the Success Center for a number of years. 3 years ago, it was with Mr. Gibson. Last year, we had a different person in that position, and now Megan has moved into that position. So I'm hopeful that she'll be long-term in that and can continue to grow that program. She definitely has a passion for working with students who just need a little bit of extra support in the behavior realm.
Are there students that have an assigned time that you already know ahead of time, like these students go on a regular basis?
Mhm.
Or is it teachers can suggest, like, I think maybe this student needs to go spend some time in the Success Center?
Yep.
Like ad
That as
hoc,
well.
you know?
So we run it a couple of ways. A child who is dysregulated and just needs to go and reset, they can go. We have children, as I mentioned in the video, that we've watched their trends, and we know that 10 a.m. for whatever reason is a tough time for them. So we have a 10 a.m. break for them. And then there can be opportunities too that a teacher can call and say, hey, I think so-and-so needs to come down and have a reset. Megan, it's a well-oiled machine in there from check-in to check-out, and they check in with like a scanner. They have a QR code personalized to them, so they scan it. Then they pick, you saw the kids Velcroing off, they pick their activities, and she's training the kids. You saw them at the table. She's training them to pick the activities that match the zone that they're checking in. So if they're coming in their sleepy zone, they're not gonna pick to go sit on the couch and have that be their chill activity. They're gonna pick something that's gonna get their body moving, the blood pumping. So she's trying to teach them to pick the activity that would help the zone that they're currently in. And then she also is pulling kids for small group instruction as well, focused on behavior trends that we see with that group of kids.
So on a bad day, how many kids would be in there? I mean, does she get overloaded?
She has a para, so that is helpful. And it would be really tough to run the room the way it runs without that level of support. I mean, I've been in and out of that room a bunch during the day, and it's a busy place, but she has the room designed to really handle what's happening. I think there's just been a handful of times that we've had to say, wait just a minute, and that's just be mostly because a student is accessing the room who their emotion is just a little more heightened, and they just need to not have children around for a few moments, while they get calm.
Brooke, does she ever have to leave the room to intervene in other behaviors in the rest of the school?
Yep. So she carries a walkie with her, and she's actually the first response to a room. So if a teacher is needing some support in their room, then they'll call the office. The office will radio out for Mrs. Ash to go. If she can't go, then Jason or myself will go to the behavior. So that's really the benefit of the para, because there's somebody else in the room. She coaches teachers. She serves on our care team, so she coaches teachers that are having trouble with a student, whether it be their management or just the structure of the room. She can go in and just observe and just give some helpful tips. She's also the lead of our functional behavior assessment team on the general education side. So she's a busy girl. Lots going on. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, well, let me give you your gift. And we look forward, I hope each of you are able to find time to come and
Thank you.
join us for One School, One Bus.
Hey,
I know we
apologies.
signed it.
What was
I
that?
need this book.
What was that date again that we need to
It
know
launches the 28th, so I would,
when to read if we want to be?
you will sign up for a date. So
Okay.
just scan that QR code.
Oh, okay.
And you can pick the date that you want to do it, and then you'll just record prior to that. Can I leave this here for Mike? Or this?
Yeah, we've got a collection.
Yes, I'll make sure he gets it. He's got a whole collection here in his seat.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brooke. Thank you. Great things going on at BIS. Okay, moving along, health services, and it looks like Amber and Aaliyah are here. I see Mindy didn't show up.
Yeah.
Where's she?
I feel bad. I didn't bring a gift. I should have done that. Getting showed up by Brooke over here. So you get 2 representatives from your health team tonight. I'm Amber Thompson. I'm at the middle school, and this is Aaliyah Buckley, and she is at the high school. She's got 2 weeks and 2 days under her belt so far, so go easy on her. The rest of our team includes Tanya Magara. She's at BPS. Hillary Cotham is at BIS, and then we have Samantha Coates at BES. So our goals and focus are promoting health, daily encounters, preventing disease, and lots and lots and lots of education. Having a nurse in the school can be beneficial through academics by keeping children healthy and ready to learn, with attendance by promoting health, disease prevention, and management. I tell students in my office every day, it's my job to keep you at school, which they don't like hearing always, but that's what I tell them. Time by taking care of student health needs and allowing teaching staff to focus on their job, and accountability by promoting school compliance with federal and state laws. So also just having us in each school can be beneficial for care plans, flow charts, guidelines, and annual staff education and training. We measure our work through the annual statistics of student diagnoses we see, information and plans we provide to our teachers and staff, and by the number of students we were able to educate and or return to class. And we kind of keep track of those numbers annually just to see how many student visits we've had in each office versus how many we sent home versus how many were able to stay at school. This is our current sort of big health concerns in the district. We have 32 students with life-threatening food allergies, 74 with asthma, 139 with ADD or ADHD, 101 with anxiety, 31 with migraines, 11 diabetics, 45 routine medications at school, and 27 with seizure disorders. So far, as of like yesterday, total number of visits on our 4 main campus schools, we've had just a little over 8,000. Number of parent contacts of those 4 buildings is just under 1,000. And we've helped facilitate staff and student campus virtual visits with CMH providers. 18 visits was as of yesterday. She did 4 today, so 22 now is where we're at. District-wide, we do yearly health fairs. None of us have done those yet. I think Hillary's is first, and she's maybe Thursday or maybe next week, but it's really soon. And then through staff health, we have provided flu shot clinics to the different schools, and 42 of our staff and attendants took advantage of that opportunity. Lead nurse responsibilities this year, without Mindy, we are sharing those responsibilities among all of us and to complete state and district required tasks.
Is that 8,000 visits for this school year?
Yes, ma'am.
Like in 2 months?
Yep.
42 days.
Yep. Yep. I know, it's a lot, isn't it?
And we're still at 95% attendance.
That's
they're
right.
keeping them in
We're
school.
sending a lot
That's
of them
right.
back to class. We're doing our job.
Okay,
Yeah. Yep. That's a lot.
that is a lot.
Yep.
It's about 50 visits per school per day.
How many?
55 students per school per day.
At the high school?
In
All
each
schools.
school.
Per school per
That's
day.
the average is about 55. That see the nurse every day.
Like, because they have a headache? Or,
Lots of different reasons.
So many things. So many things.
I'm
Yeah,
floored
headache,
right now.
stomach ache, yeah. There are students that I never see the whole time they're at the middle school, 6th through 8th grade. And then there are students I see every day or twice a day or whatever. So
What?
I know. Yeah. Yep. Just part of it.
Some scheduled and some.
Some are scheduled,
Unscheduled,
absolutely. Yeah, I have 6 diabetic students at my school, and so they keep me hopping for sure. But then also our daily med kids and that kind of thing.
But you have like repeat offenders,
Oh yeah.
like like that they just don't feel good every day, sometimes a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a good opportunity for collaboration with like our school counselors or social workers or whatever, because sometimes you're seeing then there are other issues going on that aren't necessarily
Yeah.
physical, you
Yeah.
know, like my head hurts, turns out I'm anxious, or my stomach hurts, I have a test next hour and I'm worried about that, or whatever it is. So, you know, some of those students too, we can refer on to our counseling team, and they can help out with that too. So, as far as what tools we need, collaboration is something that we crave as a nursing team. We were grateful to have had Nurse Mindy for so many years, and she had a lot of knowledge in her head that we are learning that we did not know. And so in this transition year, we just continue to request the latitude to have the space to learn and grow as our team works together to perform the necessary tasks and responsibilities that are required of our district. She was awesome, and we honestly didn't know that, so you can pass that on to her, Ron. Well, we knew it. I shouldn't say that. We knew it, but you know, she just did a lot and didn't tell any of us that she did it, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh wow, she really did a lot. So we're grateful for that, but we're also kind of learning and trying to just pick up that slack. So yeah, so we just thank you for allowing us time for district level collaboration as we learn and grow. We've been meeting with Dr. Garber in his office for about an hour a month, and utilizing that time to just talk about, we had a couple of reports that were due to the state compliance report. We have an immunization compliance report that was due October 15th that we turned in, and then one that was called a special needs survey. And so it asked some of those questions that were on that slide that said what health conditions do you have, but it has more data on it than just those. And then we have to turn in a staffing report at the beginning of the school year, number of students to nursing ratio kind of thing. So we've turned all of those in so far. We're in compliance, and we're thankful to Dr. Garber to just kind of help facilitate all of that to us as well. So what tools do we need? Annually, we use our budgets fully. In times of need, we do also share supplies between offices, and we just request that our budgets stay the same. Those are some of our expenditures that we use over there. Peppermints, man, that cures everything. So gotta be able to keep buying those mints. A couple of other big things what tools, BHS could use an oral thermometer. You see there, they run around $500 for a good quality one, but that allows for a better accurate temperature reading. The temporal, like the little point and shoot things, you know, that go to their forehead, they're not as accurate. Like if a hoodie is on or if a student is really sweaty or something like that, they just don't work as well. And that oral thermometer is just definitely one that gives you a really accurate temperature. And then BES could use this. It's called a Mako Pilot Test Audiometer. And from what I understand about it, it is essentially for students who cannot, they can't follow the instructions to point to their ear when they hear the tone in their ear for a regular hearing test. And it's kind of more like a game. And so they can point to, like, it's a pilot, so that it's like actual airplane pilot, they can point to the different places, and that helps the tester to know that they're able to hear those tones appropriately. So specifically that would work at BES, but also probably in our younger kiddos, like in the ECLC preschool area or even some kindergartners, you know, just depending on level of capability. So those are a couple of just things that are on our wish list, I guess you could say. And then this quote, you can't educate a child who isn't healthy, and you can't keep a child healthy who isn't educated. So we just thank you all. Any questions for us?
Thank you guys
Thanks
so
for
much for what you
being
do. Thanks for being here. Okay, moving on under board governance, several of us traveled to the MSBA annual conference in Kansas City. Unfortunately, I was under the weather and wasn't able to make it, but several were. And are there any that were there that would like to give any updates or speak to any topics?
Mike Ryan and I attended the AI workshop that was ahead of the annual conference. And just so proud of Missouri and what we're doing to lead the way for the rest of the nation in developing an AI toolkit that all districts can use. We had school boards from around the country come and attend that, school board associations from around the country come and attend that to see what Missouri's doing to lead the way. So it's just super proud of what we're doing that way.
A cutting edge issue for sure
Absolutely.
that we want to be on top of and or in front of if we can,
Right.
for sure.
I'm hoping we can take more people next year to the AI free conference.
Absolutely.
That'd be really good.
Anything else? We do have a work session scheduled for November 4th for the Board of Education. It will be a closed work session due to the topic that we will be discussing school safety. And there are things that will be discussed there as we evaluate and discuss any and all things we can be doing to keep our school district, our students, our staff as safe as possible. So I did want to mention that coming up on the afternoon of November 4th. And that's all we had under board governance. Moving on to strategic planning and facilities and operations.
Yeah, so I think continuing with the topic of safety and security, we've got Officer Mike Smith here to give us an update on some of the work that's been continuing to happen as we want to, again, prepare ourselves for being proactive around making sure that we have a safe learning environment. And we've had several things over the last couple of weeks, some continued trainings and then planning sessions lined up. And so we'll turn it over to Mike Smith. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for being here. A few things we're working on. Dr. Garber and Mike Pitts been moving forward with Raptor accountability. Moving forward with that. We can use that at drills, and if we ever have to do a reunification. We have our train the trainer this Thursday. There's a group of us that'll go through that, so we can go through the training and bring that down to the buildings. So that's been moving forward and going really well. Dr. Garber also attended a 2-day webinar conference for threat response, how to respond to anonymous threats. A lot of good information in that. There's a toolkit that we're currently working through on that. October 1st, all of our new members to threat assessment teams receive training, full-day training through Center for Education Safety on the purpose of a threat assessment team and how to work through a threat assessment so they can go back to their buildings and be part of those teams. We also did our building safety assessments. There's a team of us that walked through all the main buildings. With that, we use SEP-10 principles, which is crime prevention by environmental design. We're looking at the facility itself. A few things. We did that. We have our reports taken. Our reports are finished. I'm in the process of wrapping that up. But that went very well. There's some low-hanging fruit that we actually already took care of. So there's a few things that, looking down the line that you can go towards. One of the things we did do is we scheduled our Safety Alliance tabletop for November 13th from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Those of you who are on the safety team are already invited, but we'll like to invite the rest of you. You're welcome to attend. It's 2 hours. It's in this room right here. What we're doing is see the trend of reunification. We'll go over our procedures with that, and then we're going to walk through 2 tabletop exercises. And what we're doing is we're testing the first stages of testing what we have, putting it in place. We're really looking for those unknown unknowns. What can come up, what is there else that we can plan for and help prepare for that. So that's November 13th, and again, I welcome anybody who'd like to attend to do that. So just shoot me an email. We do provide lunch. So moving forward in December, there is a school safety conference in Columbia run by Center for Education Safety. That's 2 days, the 5th and 6th. The first day, geared really hard on communication. Ray will be attending that. And I'll be attending day 2, which is more geared towards school resource officers and emergency management planning. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. And of course, the work session. Anybody have any questions? Or?
Thanks, Mike.
Mike.
Thank you. Next up, we have our update from a district financial planning standpoint. We have Director of Finance, Chelsea Aberdan. Chelsea's going to give us an update on, also we've had some discussions around our substitute rate of pay, and she's had an opportunity to visit with nearby districts. And at this point, we have struggled to have subs in buildings, and we do have a sub shortage, which is a issue not in just in Bolivar, but across Missouri, and I think really across all of education. And so that's an area that we want to make sure that we're competitive, and appreciate Chelsea digging into that for us. So thank you.
So before I get started on the substitute rate, I provided you guys a revenue and expenditure summary. And there's also an attachment to that actually breaks it down for you. That's as of September 30th. So that's almost the end of the first quarter, where we're kind of looking at and where we're at right now as a district. So as you can see, our sub rates as of November 23rd, our daily rate was $100 a day, and that's if you worked 10 days or less, or if you just pick up random days here and there. Short-term rate was 11 or more days, $110 a day. And then the long-term rate, which was superintendent approval, those are certified staff members, is 180 a day. And the Bolivar retiree rate is 110, so that matches that short-term rate. The biggest piece for this, as a payroll perspective, is we're having to keep track of currently how many days a person works and when they go to that 11th day to change their salary. So that's one thing that I will be proposing, to change that to where that is set the day they come. So if we know that they're coming to fill a maternity position, they're going to be here longer than that 11 days. And so we're going to go ahead and start them on that long-term rate from the beginning. If they miss one day because they're sick, that's okay. We're going to still keep them on that long-term rate. Paraprofessionals, they're currently $12.75 an hour. The nurses are $100 a day. Custodial, food service, and secretarial, those are set by step 1 of the salary schedule. So those match what those were last year. And then the teacher plan time is $30 per hour. Sheila, can you click on that? I don't think I can. Thank you. As Dr. Methvin mentioned, I've reached out to area districts. I sent out a salary survey regarding their substitutes, and this is what I came back on. You can see Bolivar's highlighted in yellow at the top. So we are kind of on the lower end currently compared to our area districts. Fairplay's currently at 105, Halfway's at 115, Springfield and Buffalo are at 120 a day. Can you go back to it, Sheila? Sorry. So, based on the data that I collected and the conversations I had, substitute rate that I'm proposing is that we change our daily rate to 120 to match that Springfield and Buffalo, so we can try and catch some of those individuals that are driving to get more income. And then changing, instead of having a short term and a superintendent, we're just going to make it one long term, which is to 130 a day. And like I said, that is going to be set in stone from the day that they accept the position. So if we know they're going to be here for 11 or more days, they're automatically going to start making that 130 a day. And then that old long-term rate, which was superintendent approval, we've changed that to the certified extended rate. And that is, again, still approval by superintendent, certified staff member. This is for situations where if we had a staff member leave mid-year, those types of situations where we know they're going to be here for a long term. And then the retiree rate, making that 125, so that's still $5 above that daily rate, so those retirees make a little bit more money than a just normal person. And then if they did take a long-term position, they would get 130, so they do get that additional bump as well. Paras, moving them from an hourly rate to a daily rate. So they were making just at $95 a day if you took the $12.75 an hour. So we're bumping them up to 105, hoping that kind of helps get people to claim those para positions. Nurse will leave the same as the daily rate, which is 120. And then of course, custodial, food service, and secretarial, those are based off step 1 of the salary schedule currently. And no change to the teacher plan time, which is the $30 per hour. Anyone have any questions for me?
Great.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you.
This will be, we'll be seeking board action at the end of the meeting for a motion to approve the updated substitute rate. And we can capture that at the end.
Okay, moving on to academics.
Dr. Wall.
Okay, as both Dr. Tennyson and Mrs. Campbell have said, the implementation of Benchmark Advance is going super well, and that's really due to our principals and our instructional coaches providing a lot of good training and resources for teachers. It's been a lift, not gonna lie. it's a lot to learn and do, but they're doing an exceptional job. And so we're excited about that resource in our district. We continue to Dr. Methvin and the principals and I all continue to focus on effective Tier 1 instruction. That's been a big focus for us this school year. This week we've been meeting with principals to talk about the work of their PLTs in their buildings, specifically looking at the standards that they're covering, and they've covered in this past session what percentage of students are mastering the standards, so how successful are our students, and then how can we help with that work in your building. So that's been a big focus for us this year, the Tier 1 instruction. The book study is going very, very well. We've got 9, we've kind of settled in on 9 that are participating. That's every other Wednesday night, and we are doing the new Art and Science of Teaching by Marzano, and it's just been an exceptional study for these teachers, so I think they're enjoying it. And then lastly, I've given you an update on just our first iReady benchmark. It's here. The first page is going to be dealing with reading. And so that's just the very first assessment of the year. Kindergarten all the way through English 2 on that first page. And it will be that first column under the 2024 school year. And then the math, I actually have an extra page in there. When it copied it, I didn't notice that it copied a blank page. The math is going to be that third page. Teachers and principals will be using just that beginning diagnostic to be making plans for the year. Every building is engaging students in 30 minutes of iReady lessons throughout the course of the week. And we have been working closely with iReady, and we have seen that our students are gaining when they spend that time. I think they're utilizing that time during RTI time. It would be like a group that students would cycle through if they're not working directly with that teacher on skills that they need support with. So just a good benchmark that first year. Of course, those scores are going to grow throughout the school year for us, but that's the beginning scores in iReady. And of course, NWA at the high school. The high school is doing something unique. They're using IXL, and they have linked the NWA scores to IXL, which is generating lessons for the high school students in math and literacy. Mr. Blair, you're a lot more familiar with IXL than I am. Do you want to add anything to that at all?
If you want me to, I'll be glad to, but
Well,
I'll be glad to answer any questions.
yes. So we don't have really an instructional component at the high school. NWA doesn't come with that, so he's paired IXL with NWEA, which is giving students an adaptive piece, which means they're going to take that NWEA assessment, it will situate them in IXL, and then it will adapt to meet their current learning need, and it's going to provide extra skill and practice for them at the high school level, which is something that we haven't had there. So it should be very beneficial for students. They'll use that in lib time as well for students that have mastered standards and don't need to do a standards mastery lesson. That'll be a piece that they can work on, which is adapted to their personal performance level at the high school. And assignments that they have missing. Of course, the major goal of that time is for students to master standards. So if they've struggled, assessments are saying these students haven't mastered the standards that we've set forth, it's going to give them an opportunity to work with the teacher, get a little more skill and practice to master those standards during Liberator time.
And that's across academic areas, not
It's
just.
at the high school in literacy and math.
Just those two.
Yeah. iReady does the same thing for us at the elementaries, literacy and math.
Any other questions for
When you-
Dr. Wall?
When you look at the first grade iReady scores, and you're in single digits, a 9 on the reading and a 5 on the math, does that surprise you from past years?
You know, I'm a little surprised by that 9 because they ended the year in kindergarten at 78%. They had
Right.
great scores.
Uh-huh.
There's going to be some summer regression. That 9% isn't where students will end the year at. It's
Right.
entry, and they're saying 9% of the students that are entering first grade have got a good handle of first grade standards. So that's without any instruction. We're doing that the first week of class, but
Yeah, do you think any of it's like just manipulation of the test-taking device, or, but then last year they would have had something
Rachel?
similar?
I would love to say this speaks to the need for benchmark, that we had a whole lot of different resources happening within the grade levels, and we needed to tighten up our tier one. So, yes, that's a result of, we had a lot of different things happening in kindergarten, and we've got to get them all on the same page. So
Okay.
that's one of the reasons we're so thankful for benchmark. And then also for letters training.
Good to know.
This percentage means that they're ready to move on to the next grade, essentially.
yeah, they're saying
mastered
9%
that
of
grade
students have mastered first grade.
at the start of first grade.
These are
Okay.
strong students,
Okay.
but I do agree with Paula and Dr.
Okay,
Tennyson.
lower than other.
We had a need to shift, and we are so excited about what we're seeing with Benchmark. We were doing some supplemental pieces before we brought Benchmark on. We were doing patterns of power. We were using letters, pulling lots of different resources to do what we knew we needed to do, which was phonemic awareness, phonics, morphology at that elementary level. But the Benchmark series is kind of pulling those pieces together, so we're not having to piecemeal really the curriculum as much. Of course, Angie Van Dieren, the instructional coach, is working with teachers to align to those grade level standards. There's going to be pieces in Benchmark we may not cover because it doesn't hit a standard. And there may be some supplemental pieces that we're going to have to include along the way because it's a resource. It's not our entire curriculum. But it is our primary resource, and it is rich, and it is meeting a lot of the needs that we have. So
Just, it seemed like there'd been some consistency at 17 for the 2 previous years, and then to see a 9 was kind of
Yes.
surprising.
Yeah, it is.
But that just tells you where you are and where you're starting.
Correct.
Yeah.
We were not
Yeah.
shocked by it.
Yeah, oh, okay. Good to know.
That's a big thing, knowing that you weren't shocked by it.
And
Yeah.
work ahead.
Yeah.
Sure. Good to know.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Dr. Wong. Appreciate that. Moving on to Liberator R1 bond project.
Okay, so as you know, we have several projects that are currently in the design and development stages. As last spring, we were fortunate to have a bond issue passed for $11.2 million, and $3.4 million of that was dedicated to HVAC, and about $7.8 million of it is dedicated to new capital projects. And so tonight, we have our construction management partner here with us from Brandco. Thank you, Sean Tuvino, for joining us and giving us an update on where we're at in this process.
All right, if you think the other guys messed this thing up, you haven't seen me run it yet. All right, again, I'm Sean Tuvino, Brandco, and what we've been going through from the time that we interviewed till now is the process of CMR, which it's working like it's supposed to. So we go through the plans at their inception. We start with a budget from basically a schematic design, very basic, no mechanical, electrical, plumbing drawings or anything like that. And then we see, kind of get a temperature gauge of where those projects are coming in at. In traditional design bid build, you guys would have already had the drawings, would be about done by now. They'd be going out to bid, only to find out that you were over budget and you had to redraw, rebid, and start the whole process over again. With having us on board with your architect team, which you've got a great 2-architect team, we're overages and things that meeting with the school and the personnel to think about things that they may want to add or they could cut or they think they couldn't do. So there's been a lot of that going on. So the BIS, BES editions, this is just, I don't know how many of you have seen those, but this is where we're at right now as far as drawings, as far as what it's going to look like when it's done. You've got brick and metal on the outside of it, some nice storefront windows. That's your floor plan. That's your bathrooms that go off the other side of the building. These are your classroom additions, and that's the large addition over here with the walkway to it. There's a schedule, temporary or a preliminary schedule for where we're at, finishing November, right around Thanksgiving of 25. If we can get started in January or December, which we think we should be able to without any problem. And anytime you want to stop me during this, go ahead and stop me and ask any questions you want. So this is the budget, 40% CD budget. So this is a budget that we did in the infancy of the drawings. Basically, we had a little bit of mechanical knowledge, a little bit electrical, a whole lot of the architectural, because the architect's always leading the hunt on that deal. So you can see the district's budget is 3.245, and we're sitting right at 4.3. We've got AE fees in there though, so that budget's not exactly correct. We'd have to add back in the portion of the AE fees. So right now you're about 600,000-ish, 500,000 over budget. So what we're doing now is where we've gone back to the architects, they're redrawing some things. We suggested some items that don't decrease the value of your project, the quality of your project, or the use of your project. Just better light fixtures, more economical light fixtures, air conditioning units, plumbing fixtures, construction methods. We went through several scenarios on the outside. So we're working on the budget right now, redoing another one. Paragon is on this project, and they're working away with their consultants, which is the people they hire to do the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, civil, basically anything that's not architectural. So those guys are working away, and gals. So, and this does include a contingency in it for the owner and the CMR. So you've got 300. So if you take the contingencies out, which go back to you guys, if we don't use them, you're pretty well right on budget, even without the change.
That contingency, is it 100% comeback, or is it at 80/20?
No, it's 100. If I don't spend it, I don't want it. It's all yours. And a lot of school districts, when we get to the end of the projects and they see they've got this big piggy bank, they find other places to use it. Like, we want to add something to the classroom, or we want to add something to another part of the school. We had one school district actually re-roof their entire school with their savings.
Nice.
So this is the one that's going to be quite the showpiece. I'm trying to get them to get steam to come out of the horses' nostrils. That's probably not in the budget, but it would be cool if they exhausted the fans out there, or the dust collector or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is your Ag Ed building. Beautiful facility. It's going to be a great addition. And everybody, I would say, would be super proud of it. I know I would if I was in there. Here's your floor plan. You've got classrooms, office, storage, and a shop, of course. There's your schedule. That one, we've got it starting right after the first of the year and wrapping up right around the 1st of December. So that one should be pretty easy to get done. Here's your budget here. This one's not so bad. We're a whole lot closer on budget. If you take the contingency out, we're right on budget. But this one is basically right now, the drawings on this one are just what you saw there. There's no MEPs, there's no structural, there's no anything. So we're just using our knowledge as what it would take to build that building and come up with that price. And I actually looked for that price to come down a little bit, but we should, SAP thought that they would have, correct me if I'm wrong on this date, because they're getting jumbled up a little bit with 2 architects yelling in my ear, but I think SAP said they'd have 90% by the end of the month, right?
Yes.
So at that point, we can really nail down the budget, and we probably be ready to go to the GMP on this project as soon as we get those. And after we go through that, you guys approve the GMP, we put together the bid packages, send those out, and the subcontractors bid it, and we take off. So traditionally, in the last 4 bids that we've done, CMR bids that we've done, Greene County Library, Lebanon Schools, and Ozark Schools are bid on bid day. We try to keep a little bit in here because we don't want to tell you it can be done for this, have your hopes up, and then it be here. So we try to be a little thumb on the scale, not much, but enough to be comfortable. Those bids come in under those numbers. Historically, they have recently. So We've been getting a lot of interest in the projects. We've had a lot of interest in this project. We've had local people call them, subcontractors, electrician, cabinet guys, painters, wanting to know when they were gonna come out. So you got a lot of local interest. I've got some people, and if you know anybody, send them my way. Have them get in touch with Dr. Methman. He can get them to me. But if you know somebody that's in the trades that you want to bid on this job, by all means, have them get in touch with us.
The hurricanes haven't caused any issues, so.
Not
with
yet, but
prices.
I'd say about March, be about my guess.
We
So
can
next
pre-buy
year's
that,
gonna-
right?
Huh?
We can pre-buy that now.
Yes, we can. So, actually, I am, next week, I'm gonna start looking ahead, and I'm probably gonna buy a couple rail cars of treated lumber for your backing and plates for all projects. I mean, it's just gonna be easier, because you're not gonna be able to get it. So next year's gonna be the perfect storm, so it's gonna take some serious scheduling, because we've got I-70 starting, we've got all the ARPA funds, civil projects going in, we've got I-44 starting. So, the state of Missouri, from everything I read and hear, is going to be on a Portland cement ration. So basically, they're gonna send it to the big projects, and then you get what's left. So you're gonna have to schedule your concrete pours way in advance. So, yeah, it's gonna be fun. Might lose some hair over it. So, with that being said, questions?
So that BISBS proposal, that had the additional bathroom on the, I didn't see that.
The bathroom additions?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
So
the top
there's-
right floor plan there.
Yeah, this one here.
And that's the part of the project that is the most, well, where the original estimate was the furthest off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
So
It's almost double.
essentially, there's 2 new bathrooms on that, right? What, the new classrooms, there's a bathroom as well?
No,
right?
there's no addition, there's no bathrooms with the new 4
Oh.
classrooms.
Actually, in this space right here, there is zero plumbing, zero. The only plumbing you have is, there's a water outlet or a hydrant here, and that's it.
So just classrooms, but it's close to a bathroom there on that hallway, I guess, yeah.
Yes.
Right. And then we had to do some gymnastics with the hallway, and we thought about shrinking it, but then you come out of this hallway into a narrower hallway, and then we talked about not doing lockers and doing lockers, and there's been a lot of your staff and superintendent, everybody has been very involved in trying to make this as perfect as it can be. So, which is another good point of CMR, because everybody's there at the table. We get to hear the district's ideas, we get to hear the designer's ideas, the contractor's ideas, your ideas. So it's just a great process.
And remind me again, what's making the bathroom project so much more expensive than we anticipated?
It was just underestimated to begin with. The original budget was a little low, but we've been able to overcome that by doing some, design changes and things like that. And then on the ag building, we were actually able to take some money from the remodel stuff, and instead of redoing, we're reskinning and moving money around, but still giving you the same project.
Would a prefab bathroom facility, would that be feasible? Not really?
Not really, those have gotten so expensive.
Oh,
and-
really?
Yeah. So I actually looked at those for a park project we did in Mount Vernon, and I was like, holy cow, I can build 4 of them for.
Is that right?
Yeah. So,
There's no storm shelters in either of the other 2, right?
no, there is not. Other than that, any questions, other than when you're gonna get started? So,
How do you put the big logo on the side of the ag building? Is it a painted mural or?
I'm pretty sure that one will be a painted
Supposed to
mural,
be
so they
painted
put a
mural.
stencil up there and paint it on there.
Okay.
Yeah,
That'd be
I don't think
wonderful.
vinyl would be something that you'd want, it wouldn't last very long, plus kids would pick at it.
Well, sure, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just curious with the scale, what that would be.
Yeah, we've got some guys that do the mural painting, and, I mean, they've done gyms, El Dorado Springs, all the
Yeah.
letters and their logos and all that, and the Hornets at Lebanon.
That's
They
awesome.
just, it's crazy what those folks can do, so, of course, they kind of cheat a little. One of them doesn't cheat, he does a lot of it freehand, but most of them use stencils, so. But the guy that does it freehand, he's getting up in age, and he kind of shakes quite a bit. So it's kind of sad to see because he's truly an artist and master of what he did. So.
Any other questions?
Who would be the point of contact? We'd like to see, or I would anyways, maybe, but like in the future, that's a lot of money the taxpayers are getting ready to spend, and we'd like to see kind of monthly updates of where we're at once we get started. Kind of, maybe we can post it on our website and say, hey, so people can see where we're at and very transparent on what we're doing with our money.
Yeah, that'll be something that we're, as obviously, it doesn't come in a regular increments.
Right.
You know, it comes in waves, the expenses as they come through, and we've got those funds already, you know, in-house and have invested them, the bond monies. And so as we're going through the course of the project, we will be providing updates on the website specific to the bond project, and be able to give some photo, you know, progress so people can see, you know, the ground being broken as well. But we want to certainly make sure that people can track the progress over the course of the project. And you know, we're looking at a 1-year plan from when we break ground to when it's punch list time, and it'll be here before we know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what you see on, so a lot of times we'll do a drawdown schedule for the districts that show what our contract is and how we expect the draws to come in so they can kind of plan for it. And what you normally see is the first draw is here, and then it kind of ticks up, and the middle of the projects it's way up here, and then it drops back down to your retainage at the end. So, but as far as billing, we'll have a spreadsheet that shows, you know, how much the plumbing, electric, drywall, all that is, how much is in the bid, how much we've built to date, and yeah, so it'll all be. The only thing that should throw any red flags to anybody is if we come to you and if somebody comes to you and asks for a increase in the GMP. That's what the contingency.
That's what the GMP is, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. But now, if you guys go ahead and a whole nother building, then yeah, it's going to increase. But that's why we have contingencies in there, so it eliminates all that. It allows, you know, you guys to do some things that you wouldn't normally be able to do without. But yeah. And then as far as, I mean, we do a lot of media stuff. I'm chomping at the bit to get that ag building on my website, so I'm waiting on somebody to tell me to go ahead. So, but that's going to be a good looking building. And I mean, we've even, now I've got on staff a drone pilot, so we'll be getting overhead videos, and come groundbreaking time, he'll mic you guys up and be asking you questions, and you'll think you're got KY3 on you. So he takes his job pretty seriously.
Can we get this sent out to us?
Yeah, it'll be linked to the agenda.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sean, thanks for taking time out of your evening to be
You
here
bet.
and give us an update.
Yeah,
We
I'm
appreciate
proud
it.
to be here. Anything you got, give me a call or run through Dr. Madsen, and we'll get you an answer.
Thank you,
Thank
Sean.
you.
Appreciate it. Couple other updates. Obviously, that's the vast majority of the work that's taking place, but we do have some other things happening. We mentioned the HVAC projects, and we're in the final stages with that. BPS is 100% full go. The high school is just wrapping up some adjustments to the system as they put those 2 units on their footers last month, and we're very close to being finalized and that crew being out of there. And then at BMS, they appreciate their patience. That has taken us a little bit longer than we had anticipated with getting that work done in the field house. And so much thanks to Mr. Potter and our PE team out there at BMS as this has gone on a little bit longer, and most of the interior work now is done. We're about ready to start placing units there at the field house as well. We have some playground upgrades that we're looking at, and we're visiting with 2 different vendors who responded to the RFP and are in discussions with both of them about what options are available, and at both BPS and BIS, with basically replacing the large structure that is at both schools. They're both in past their life cycle and look forward to getting a new structure there in place. And then we will also, part of the work is going to be deconstructing and reconstructing the newest piece of equipment at BES with the new 4 classrooms that will be coming down on that backside of BES. We'll be looking at moving that around the corner as well. And so our playground vendors are, again, working with us on what options we have before we go to a final pricing structure discussion. And then finally, Liberator Park restrooms, which is the last piece of the project that was part of our bond initiative. And that's kind of going to be the last piece to fall in terms of movement. But that will be, as we had discussed, that's a prefab structure that we've already got some preliminary numbers from a company out of Minnesota to drop ship it and then have a local construction company build it for us here on site. So those are all pieces that are coming down the road to be in place for next school year as well. Any questions on some of the other ancillary projects?
On the wonder on that, I wonder if we wouldn't save money, we might want to look at it, just a design build on that.
On the restrooms?
On those restrooms, if they're, like Sean said, not that much higher, to have them precast. We thought we were saving money,
Yeah,
but.
the whole point.
Yeah.
But if we could just get it's a local construction company, get a design build, and
Yeah,
we
that's
might
worth,
save money on
that's worth
that.
looking at, certainly. The preliminary numbers that we got for the project, the scope of the project that, as presented with the 5 stalls on each side, with the kind of a park type of project, put us at about $250,000 for materials alone, and delivery. And then obviously you have construction costs in addition to that. So but again, that gives us some preliminary numbers and certainly worth something to look at as we plan out ahead for next fall. So we can look at that and come back around.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I agree with that,
Yeah.
Dan. I've got part of something surely there's
I mean,
someone local who's.
Yeah, that's just small that's just
Yeah.
a small
Right.
project that we could get someone local here. and
We've
get
got good
a bid
local
and-
contractors.
Right,
and-
don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just seems like it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm great with looking at other options beyond what we had, what had been originally put on the table. The cost of the addition at the intermediate school is $600,000, which the original estimate was $300,000, and then the cost for materials and shipping of this prefab is $250,000 plus obviously construction work. So it'll be interesting to see if we put some feelers out as to what that would look like, and go down the road of having a bid process. We can certainly look at that.
Convenience and transparency. Convenience and transparency. And so we have for everybody the Board of Education agenda process in draft form here, and want to look at implementing this going forward. But obviously, we want input if there is any, and I know this was sent out, so has anybody's looked this over, have any thoughts, comments, suggestions in regard to this process?
I would just add, one of the things that we talked about was the importance of having maybe a structure in place for how do we get feedback on what becomes an agenda item at our monthly board meeting. And when you talk to other districts of similar size to Bolivar, typically an annual process would be that we take a moment after board elections and we have a reorganization of the board in April to talk through what's our process for getting items on the agenda, for a couple of different reasons. One, the importance of having a clearly defined agenda so that we give our stakeholders an opportunity to be present if there's a topic that they want to hear about and have a passion about, and also to give us an opportunity as a board and administrators to be prepared to speak to that topic and have done our due diligence to be able to speak intelligently to it as well. So both transparency and preparation is a big part of why, we have a clearly defined board agenda, and the transparency piece, as by law, we have to make sure that we have identified what are those topics that we're going to discuss as a board. And so to formalize the draft process a little bit, one of the things we talked about was having, obviously, the initial input as the superintendent and administrators look at current issues that are on our radar as we prepare to move forward, is gathering those items, putting those as potential board agenda items, but then also having a formalized process for getting feedback from board members. And so we would seek that feedback, and the board president and superintendent would then look at the feedback that had been provided and set up a meeting to discuss what would potentially land on the agenda. And really, obviously, if it's on your part as a potential item, that's something that we want to address and look at whether it falls into one of three buckets. It's going to be an agenda item, an open session. It's something that would land under the closed session item, or it's a one-on-one follow-up discussion that we could get back to you on and have that discussion, get more information about that topic. And so once we decide which bucket those topics fall in, we would send out a draft agenda for the board to review, get some final input on, and then turn that around and finalize the agenda for the next meeting. And then the Friday before that meeting, push out all relevant information for you to review and be prepared to come to the next meeting ready to discuss. And then from there, we would post publicly our agenda at least 48 hours before the next meeting. And then have a process for if there was a time-sensitive agenda item that we needed to put on the agenda, then we would discuss that as a board. Here's something that's time-sensitive, or maybe a legal matter or trying to get somebody hired prior to during that upcoming board meeting, and determine if we want to add that. But obviously, that would be a rare occurrence that we would add something, giving our stakeholders an opportunity to know what's on the agenda and meeting the legal requirements that we have as a government entity. So that's a nutshell version of what the process would look like, and just trying to formalize it a little bit and make that a regular rhythm of how we go about setting the agenda and having a meaningful topics that we bring every month. Thoughts on potential shifts to that process, or do you feel like that's a quality approach?
Great idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't speak for Jillian, but, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, I can't speak for Jillian, but as being a new school board member, and I think it'd be great to have it first, in May or anything after you get on, and before we've had time to go to our new school board training and just know how it's all done, and I think it's a good idea.
That sounds good. Then we can.
It's just important that every board member has their ideas heard and has the opportunity to put stuff on the agenda and never misses that chance. So that's great.
Good.
I'd suggest on the pre-agenda meeting, and I can just offer this from experience, when you have the board president and superintendent to meet, I'd encourage you to include other board officers and the board secretary. The board secretary asks things that have to happen each month and of every year from past agendas, and that way things won't fall through the cracks, but we need to address every specific. Every January, every February, every March.
Yes. Oh, and our board secretary is a fantastic
Yes, she
resource,
is.
and I lean on her very heavily as we start the initial process of drafting our agenda. So yeah, absolutely, that's a critical component as we look back at previous years and make sure that we're planning for the future as well. Thank you. That's great. Yes.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. Thank you, Sheila, for all you do. We appreciate you. Okay, moving on. Time to review policy, and we have several here And each board member will volunteer to take one or two and review and come back next month with any comments, questions, suggestions, etc. Now, everybody's free to look at everything, obviously, but we just like to make sure that at least one board member is addressing each of these. And I'll just go through. I did note the topic, so if you are passionate about something and want one, you just let me know. We'll start with EBBC. That's lactation support. Brad, I thought that might be one that you'd be
I'll
interested.
skip on that one.
You sure?
Yeah. I don't think I'm qualified, so.
I'll volunteer to take that.
Paul-
That's an issue that I feel passionately about.
Paula.
Why
Okay.
me? I'm telling you.
GB, part-time and sub-employment. Anybody want part-time
I
and
can
sub?
do it.
Drew? GBE, staff health and safety.
I can do that one too.
Okay. GCBDA, professional staff short-term leave.
Sure.
All right, we'll go Jill there. GDBDA, support staff leave.
I'll do that one too.
Okay, thank you, Jill. IGBA, special education. I think, I haven't had a chance to talk to Mike, but I'm going to put Mike down for that unless somebody wants that due to that being his specialty area. Students in foster care.
Mike would want that one too.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike there. And ILA, test integrity and security.
I'll do that.
Dan. And Brad, we're going to give you, how about scholarships? You okay taking scholarship programs?
Sure.
Okay.
That's the JFCL?
The JFCL,
Okay.
yes. And then I will take the student discipline JG. Okay, anyone need yours repeated? Everybody good? Everybody good on those? Okay. Thank you all. Okay.
Sheila, will you send us?
I don't have hard copies tonight, I'll hand out.
Oh, okay, great.
perfect.
Thank you.
I'll send them electronically too.
Thank you, Sheila.
Because I haven't seen them yet.
Okay, moving on to action items. Action item number 1, motion to approve the substitute rate increase of daily rate of $120 per day, long-term rate of $130 per day, retiree rate of $125 per day, and certified extended of $180 per day. All of this as Chelsea outlined for us earlier this evening.
So moved.
Brad makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, was that Drew?
Yep.
Thank you, Drew. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we need a motion to approve the transportation ridership report, which you all received in your board packet. Do we have a motion?
What is that telling me? Like, what am I doing with that?
It's a breakdown of number of students, assigned to routes, and mileage for each route. And
I'm-
yeah,
Oh, I'm just saying that I've seen it. Like,
Yes.
it's not, we're not doing,
it's come across your desk.
okay. I saw it, I just didn't know like what I was supposed to.
We're aware of
do with
the
it.
routes,
Yeah,
the number
okay.
of students on a route, the drivers,
Okay, got it.
et cetera.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Good question. Good question. Okay, a motion to approve the transportation ridership reports.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Dan, and a second by Brad. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, a motion to approve the graduation 2025 facility usage agreement with SBU.
So moved.
Thank you, Brad. Do
Has
we?
that gone up from last year, or was that the same? Do you remember?
I believe that's the same. I believe we were at 4,000 last year as well.
Okay. Brad made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jill. Any further discussion?
Do we still think that paying $4,000 to SBU to use their facility for graduation is worth it?
Where would you have us go?
So
you know, we've been in the gym for a while. We've talked about outdoor graduation.
You always run into the issue of rain on
Oh, sure.
outdoors.
Oh,
The
sure.
gym would be overflowing, you'd have people that wouldn't be able to get into the gym.
Oh, yeah, that's happened.
The, when we did, during COVID, when we did the outdoor graduation,
Right.
and when I worked in the Willard School District, they do an outdoor graduation. You always have to have an adequate backup.
You gotta have a contingency.
Yeah, and that is very difficult to do. The evening of the outdoor, it was wonderful. The weather was wonderful. It turned out great. Most everybody, staff and students and parents who attended loved it, yet it was a difficult situation to pull off. In a perfect world, I would be waving the banner for an outdoor graduation.
Sure.
If you could design the weather to turn out perfect, it was lovely. It was.
Jason, what about feedback from parents or students, seniors that you've heard? We'll put you on the spot.
Glad you asked me a question I know the answer to. So, yeah, we've asked for feedback the last 3 years. I just, paraphrasing, simply asked the question, would you rather have it at SBU or outside? I always put on there, please understand, if it's outside and there's inclement weather, they would have to go to the gym, which would require tickets. This year was right in the vicinity of 85% preferring SBU.
Is that right?
And that's two separate surveys. One went to parents, they went out to all senior parents, one went to all seniors, and results were very, very similar. If you want, I think Dr. Methvin has access to that if you want to look it up, but it's right at 84-85% both preferred. And again, I think what Ron said, I think a lot of people would like to go outside, but it's that inclement weather thing that all of a sudden puts you in a really bad spot where you're cramming inside the gym. So
In
I
worst
think
case scenario, they have to cram in the gym, what percentage of people can't attend?
we
because
would. I'm gauging because I've not done that. Ron may actually have better information. I'm
Sheila.
told that it would be roughly 5 to 6 tickets per senior that we would give out, and then everyone else would have to overflow and watch it via video in the auditorium.
That's about where
Based-
we were.
Oh, it was.
At the most, we might have done 8, but the class was smaller.
Correct,
That's
right. The class size
Yeah.
would make a big difference. This year's class could get by with a few more. A couple of years ago, it would have probably been 4 or 5, because we have, I believe, had 230 graduate, so. Yeah. So, but that's what, you know, I talked to Dr. Methvin just so we could have the feedback to have, and that's what it was. So.
But you
And
said
there's
80.
there's no way to do and plan for an outdoor and then say, hey, SP will pay you the 4 if we need it, and that's probably not an option.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
logistically,
that's-
hard to
Here's-
move from one side.
I don't know, I guess the answer for sure on that. I would think their resistance would be that they leave all of that up for us when they have people
Yeah, they'd have to
there
have a
ready to
plan,
tear
yeah.
down. It is off-putting for them to leave, because they basically leave their gym unusable between those 2 times.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that looks like, I just know that would be, my guess is their biggest hurdle to a what-if scenario.
But you said 85%.
Is 85%, yeah, I mean, I can get,
Yeah.
it's very
No, it
close to
was-
that.
yeah, it was in
It's
the
pretty
80s.
high. Yeah.
And, I mean, it's a fantastic venue for a district of our size to host graduation. It's ideal in terms of, we don't have to worry about families not being able to bring additional people or having to figure out which grandparent's not coming and which aunt and uncle is not able to come into the gym or has to watch it on closed circuit TV or get the recap after it's over. It allows for everybody to come in and takes the worry off of the administrative team and our custodial crew are on setup as well, that we know that we've got a venue. It gets transformed into Liberator, Central, and is really a nice spot for us to honor.
85% is pretty strong.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
I just
That's a
think
good
it's
question.
I just think it's unfortunate that although that facility is in our community and it is a wonderful facility, $4,000 is a lot of money. And I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah.
And I think it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have the motion made by Brad, Jill second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
And the last thing we had was a motion for beverage vending contract with Ozarks Coca-Cola. I'm
We're gonna
sorry.
do the pool.
Yes. We'll come back to that one then. Go ahead.
Okay. Our last motion of the evening is to approve the 24-25 pool facility usage agreement with SBU as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Dan on the motion, Brad. Any further discussion?
So that comes out to the 10,000.
Yes.
'Cause
That's
it's-
a flat rate of
So it's
10,000.
125 per hour, but it's not going to be more than 10,000.
No, it's not an hourly rate at all. It's actually a flat, so
So what's said in
what-
here is not actually.
The
Right.
link, what is stated on this, on your motion
Okay.
sheet is not, but what's linked in the agenda is.
I just want to make sure,
Yeah.
because there's a, okay.
Yes.
So we are agreeing to
As
the
present
10,000
at that
flat
dollar
fee.
amount, flat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying.
Is that in line with what we budgeted?
Yes.
It's,
We were prepared for that, so
Right.
this isn't a surprise.
It's less.
It's
It's
less.
less than what we paid last
Yeah.
year, so.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Thank you.
encouraging.
Yes,
Okay.
That's why we pay our subs more.
that's right.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here, and thank you for,
Table the last item, or what are we?
Yeah, so we initially were planning to
yeah.
request a motion to
Sorry.
approve vending contract. We're still waiting on legal to push it through, so we're going to
Yes.
move that one to the next board meeting.
Do we ever get other bids from other
So
beverage?
Pepsi's, again, with our existing contract, we are actually, the proposal is an improvement upon our previous contract on multiple levels. And so when I bring the agreement, I'll share a little bit more details, but we're excited about the new agreement with Coca-Cola, and like I said, Pepsi's. They're not, their ability to match that is not, and that's, as you can see, again, our agreement with Coke, as we present it next month, you'll see some of the additional pieces that are part of that equation as well, so we're looking forward to that.
okay, very good. Okay, that wraps us up. Just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Oh,
Second, I'll give it to him.
No, I'll second. He moved. I'll second.
We'll give Drew
Yeah.
and Dan.
Yeah. Good.
All in favor?
Good. Aye.
All right, thank